everyone, Nick Field here. I'm the guy who sounds like this, gets excited about stuff so other people don't have to, and this is the Keith Andrew Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Keith Andrew Network, and we are here live from the studio of the United Kingdom. It is the Keith Andrew Network UK edition. Now, with that being said, the message will always be the same. What is the Keith Andrew Network? The whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same, again, I had a brain fart. The whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be, so prove them still amount to something. This January will be the start of season 10, but in the meantime, we're going to have some filler shows. We're going to have, the Canadian edition, the Canada edition of the Keith Andrew Network. We have the UK edition. It's going to be a pain in the ass with the time difference, but we're going to have the Japan edition. We have the Australia. So it's going to be a Keith Andrew Network global. What's that being? I was saying international, but international, global. But my goal is to make everyone aware of the Keith Andrew Network. Today we have my friend Nick back on the show for a second time. Welcome back. And how have you been during this whole pandemic?
Hey, it's great to be back on here with you, Keith, and I wholeheartedly endorse everything that you've just said, and how much you are proof that even with a learning disability you can do great things. So, I've been good here. The pandemic, it's really been a strange time for us all, hasn't it? It's just been, and I think the main thing is it's just been so unpredictable. A lot of people were saying, it would be over pretty quickly. I was sort of expecting it to have gone away by last summer when it started getting warmer, but yeah, it's just been such a strange 18 months, and well, we're not out of the woods yet. We need to not act like we are out of the woods. We may be over the worst of it, but yeah, I think everyone needs to remain vigilant and cautious, and be sensible when you're going out. Don't just suddenly throw caution to the wind because you think you can. So, I work in the education and media sectors. The education industry, I think the education world has taken to it really well. I think a lot of learning went online, and it's not the same as being in person. We won't skirt around that, but I do feel really proud of what the college where I work achieved last year and over the past year when we've been in lockdown. And in terms of the other work that I do, radio has never really stopped, but it's been an important lifeline for getting information out there, and I interview a lot of local musicians, and being able to still show some support to them has been so rewarding, and I'm really pleased that I've been able to do that. And in terms of acting, it did kind of fall by the wayside a bit. I did do one short film over Zoom, and I do wonder if more of those are going to pop up. But it's just kind of we're just having to try and make the most of the situation that we find ourselves in, and well, I've certainly tried to do that, and hopefully others have as well. So yeah, it's just kind of trying to keep busy, but at the same time trying to stay thankful. Having a sense of gratitude really helps. you, it's very easy to focus on the negative, but you've also got to forget what you have got as well as what you haven't, and just try and make the most of that.
No, you're absolutely right. One thing I do want to say, for the States, well, for me anyway, personally, it should be mandatory. Everyone should be vaccinated. Sooner everyone gets vaccinated, the sooner things will somewhat go back to normal, whatever normal is. But the sooner everyone gets their crap together, the sooner things will get better. But when you talk about social media, as both of us are in the media world, the biggest thing is we need to stop having fake news. It sounds like Trump. We need to stop having fake news. Someone doesn't know what the hell they're talking about, then don't go out and talk about it, because you have the CDC come out, they say one thing, then scientists say another. It's going to, how about this? Get your shit together, then come out and say it. Because you come out one day, say, oh, well, things are great. Next day, people are dying. Stay off the radio until you get your act together. And now they're talking about, another insurrection, like on January 6th. Now they're going to do it again. Goodness, tomorrow.
That was so shocking. Watching that from over here. Oh my goodness.
But the biggest thing is, people are just freaking idiots. Facebook. No one can be in a monopoly. Number one. WWE tried that for the longest time. They put WCW out of business. They put ECW sucked anyway, but they put ECW out of business. But they were like, oh, we want to be the only people in town. And Facebook, they don't have they have Instagram, they have Twitter, they have WhatsApp. And it's kind of like what's Optimum too. No one should be just an monopoly. Because we need, yes, competition's good. It brings out the best in you. But why do you want to be the only person in town? It's kind of like, it's the same over in England too. Do you have monopolies over there?
I think we do. I think we have one that's like dominant over others. Maybe not as dominant as they are in the States. I mean, we're a smaller country to start with. But yeah, I mean, the thing with social media is a lot of people take social media, something they saw on social media as fact.
Yeah.
Just because something is in a meme doesn't mean it's true. And I think it's in many ways, social media has enabled so many good causes to come to light, such as speaking as an autistic person, so much more. I've been able to meet so many more people on the spectrum through social media. But another side is there's a lot of hate groups that seem to have been able to find wider audiences as well. So I think what we really need. I mean, I always firmly believe that social media can be a force for good, in the same way that television always has been, that radio always has been, that the internet in general always has been. So, I think what we need, I think we can, we have so many great opportunities with social media, but at the same time, we need to make sure that we speak out when things like a less than savory group is gaining prominence there. And also we need to question what we read. We need to question about articles that are presented as news but are biased. Biased news, not necessarily fake news, but there's a lot of biased news out there.
Well, you're absolutely right. And Trump did a perfect job of moving the rock. And now you have all these freaking people coming out of the woodwork. And it isn't just in the United States. It's all squared. Would you say in England too? That he affected England?
I think it does to some extent because I mean, Trump seemed to wake up a lot of people on the far right. and we do have some prominent far right people here in the UK as well. I think we just have, and what we have to do is just continually try and call these people out, and support groups that do. We have groups. I feel really fortunate that we have just as many groups that are willing to speak out against online hate. And we had it here when some footballers during the World Cup would kneel during the national anthem in protest at racism, and some people went off at them, but so many more people would leap to the defense of them as well, would leap to the defense of the footballers who kneeled as well. And where there's a lot of like racism and a lot of stereotyping, and I'm glad that a lot of people do feel that they can speak out as well, and that's what's important.
No, absolutely. Not to talk about politics, and I do apologize, but that's the one thing about the Keith Andrew Network. It's uncensored, freedom of speech, self-expression. You have the right to say what you want and how you feel. But the other question I want to ask you is, how has your career been? Last time I asked you this, but I'm going to do a follow-up. What has been your greatest achievements?
What has been my greatest achievement? Well, one thing that definitely got ticked off the bucket list, when I toyed with the idea of being an actor when I was young, but sort of didn't for a while. And then when I got into radio, when I got into voiceover, and there were opportunities to get into acting as well. And 2 years ago, a film that I was in, Calamity Kevin, came out on Amazon Prime, and my name was in the opening credits. I was like one of the actors in the beginning, and that was such an achievement. It's one of those things that you never really realized that you really wanted to do, and there I was. And I've also done a few things, like I've been on a couple of major film sets. 3 years ago, I was an extra in Spider-Man Far From Home when they were filming in London. And I was part of the crowd that was running away from, spoiler alert, Hydra Man jumping out of the Thames. And I actually I was a blur in the trailer. So that was a big achievement as well. And the good thing about that is I will never be stuck for conversation during social gatherings, family gatherings, general social gatherings. I'll just be able to talk about that time I was in a Spider-Man film, albeit in the background, very blurry, but I was there. So yes, I have been immortalized in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, sort of.
No, that's an awesome accomplishment. Thank you. I only have my immediate family. Yeah, I do have cousins and nieces, but I don't really talk to that other side of the family because most of them have their heads way up their ass. But it's their karma, so you can't fix stupid, but you can numb it with a 2x4.
What's that? Sorry?
Oh, you can't fix stupid, but you can numb it with a 2x4.
Yeah.
But like you said, you take the good with the bad.
Yes, your options are very limited with those kinds of people, unfortunately.
That's true. And what about, have you ever had more experience? Apparently you were in the Marvel Universe, but have you gained any more experience of working in TV and broadcasting from the last time we talked?
Some bits and bobs here and there. I've been an extra in a few TV shows, but I can't talk about those yet because they haven't been broadcast yet. Although that said, I was in an episode of a comedy consumer show, which is shown on Channel 4 here in the UK, called Joe Lycett's Got Your Back. So it's kind of like he talks about consumer issues like really bad broadband and packaging that's not very environmentally friendly and those kinds of things. And I actually did some segments for that. I was dressed as a scientist, and a few of us had to do blindfold taste testing of we had to do a couple of burgers and also Coke and Pepsi, and we had to try and guess which was which. I failed at that, by the way. I was not proud of myself. So yeah, so I've been so since we last spoke, I've been seen on national television with a blindfold on, talking about a burger I just. So there we go.
No, absolutely. Now, the other thing I want to ask you is, what experience do you have in leading others?
I kind of go on the basis.
I do apologize.
Yes, I just had a reminder that my internet connection's unstable. Not the only thing, matey. So, other thing I was going to say, I'm just going to wait for you to slot back into action. There you are. Right. But yeah, the thing is, there's loads of these crazy before they were famous shows. You know, I remember John Travolta being in like a shampoo advert, and he had to sing about the ingredients of shampoo. So there we go. There's lots of so yeah, you know, on the way up in stardom, you will be asked to do all sorts of crazy things, and I just kind of see that as another crazy thing that I've been asked to do.
No, absolutely. And now, go back to the question I asked before, or did you answer the question? What experience do you have in leading others?
In leading others?
Yes.
In leading others, it's you often, a lot of the time you find that you have all sorts of random subject matters that you are suddenly really good at. One of the things that I say, although I'm involved in creative industries, I'm actually much more of an analyst. I'm a very analytical person. And during the lesson today, a lesson that I was in today, we were looking at different magazine covers and analyzing, you know, why, you know, what colors have they used, what photos have they used, what fonts have they used. And I found that I could talk a lot about, you know, why different colors were used, why things are laid out the way they are, and things like that. So yeah, it's like techniques in like layouts of magazines, and the way that they try and catch your eye is something that really interests me. You know, it's like I've always been interested in the way things are presented and the sort of like messages they subliminally transfer over to you. So, you know, you'll notice that there's lots of on magazine covers, there's lots of like white, yellow, orange, red, you know, warm colors, but there's also kind of like light blue, like reassuring colors, and you know, there's certain things will be in red to draw your attention to them, you know, because red is a color of like danger at sea. So yeah, it's just like even different fonts used, you know, it does fascinate me how much there is in that as well. So, and also I've always been fascinated by language and the ways that we communicate, you know, and how in texts they use, you know, techniques of language, how they'll use adjectives and nouns and adverbs, and you know, they'll make decisions with words to portray things in a certain light. You know, I'm the sort of person, I enjoy looking more into that, and I always encourage people, you know, don't just take things, you know, don't just like minus in, kind of like take into account what's being done, you know, what's kind of like what's going on in your head when you read when you read these messages, when you see these front covers, you know, what's drawing you in, what's it made of.
Oh, absolutely. Actually, I want to ask you a question about I didn't ask last time. You know, for people in the United States, we have Madison Square Garden, we have Westbury, we have Nassau Coliseum. So over in England, what are the biggest attractions for arenas that you have? Well, as we wait for the internet to connect, now the one thing I want to say to our fans and listeners, make sure to like and subscribe to the Keith Andrew Network. We're available on Facebook.com, YouTube.com. Hit that bell icon, like and subscribe to the Keith Andrew Network. And once I wait for our guests to be fully connected, we will go back to our question about some of the city's biggest venues.
Right, I can hear you. Yep, you're back. Right. Well, I'm in London, so I'm kind of like just on the outskirts of London, and I mean, the thing is, I sort of casually walk past Big Ben, the London Eye, Buckingham Palace, all those things, like quite a lot, So they're kind of like second nature to me. But to people coming in, they're like, "Oh wow, look at all these!" so yeah, that's often. So yeah, it's probably like people in Paris probably casually walk past the Arc de Triomphe for the Eiffel Tower all the time, but that are the things to go and see out there. So I think there's that. So yeah, those things always appeal to me. And are always kind of like great to see. And it's good to remind yourself of what your city has to offer.
I agree. Now it's the last 5 minutes. I'm going to pass it over to you. Was there anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to promote? This is your time.
Ooh, things I'd like to promote. Well, my website is nickfieldmedia.co.uk. I'm adding new reels and new voice reels, new acting reels all the time. So feel free to go and check that out. There's also links to films that I've been in as well. So earlier on I mentioned Calamity Kevin. There's a link to that available to go see on Amazon Prime. There's also 2 other films that I was involved in called the Viking War and World Cup Heist. They're also available to watch as well. I did a comedy pilot earlier on in the year called Bad Influences, which I highly recommend you go see. It was partly filmed in my hometown of Romford, so it was actually partly filmed in Romford Market, which has been around for nearly 800 years. So it was really good to work there and get that on there. And also my radio show is on at 8 p.m. UK time every Wednesday on phoenixfm.com. So would love to have you tune in there. And if you go to phoenixfm.com, you'll also be able to listen back to previous shows as well.
Hey, if it's a possibility, I'd love to be a guest.
I would love to have you on the show as well, matey. We definitely need to sort this out at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. I do have a couple questions for you off the air.
You can give me tips on interviewing via Zoom. What's that?
I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But, for everyone who wants to know why am I doing filler episodes, season 10 starts in 2022, and I have ADD, so I need to constantly be doing something. But if you're a fan of Canada, I will be interviewing people in the entertainment world, singers, actors, performers, same thing for the United Kingdom. There'll be a whole list of people who I interviewed ever from England. We're going to have Japan. We're going to have Germany. The Keith Andrew Network will be globalized. But wrapping up our talk show, as I asked you last time, I want you to be brutally honest. When I approached you to be a guest on my show for a second time, what made you say yes? How do you feel now? And would you recommend it to other people and brand new people?
I totally recommend Keith Andrew Network to people. I think it's just a great opportunity to get yourself out there. And also I love that I feel that I'm supporting a whole community by being involved with this. It's like I grew up on the autism spectrum and, having very poor social skills and often feeling like I wasn't going to fit in with the regular world of work, So I thought I was basically incapable of having a full-time job. And I remember about 6 years ago when I was diagnosed, I was stuck at home and I was like, I really suck at being an adult. 6 years on, I'm doing acting work, I'm doing feature film work, and also I'm able to working in the education sector and supporting students and teachers means I can give the next generation opportunities that I didn't have. And that is such a good feeling, and that's, and just helping more people realize their potential. And the more that I can get this message out there and, maybe give some hope to others as well is always an opportunity worth taking.
Great set. And I do have some great ideas for you off the air. But wrapping up our interview segment, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. I can't wait for part 3. Part 3 will be on Instagram Live, do something different for the show. And I look forward to being a guest. But wrapping up the talk show, it was a real honor and privilege. I want to say thank you for your time.